My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. We talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, the day before Memorial Day, so beautiful day as it was today. And I'm pleased to have on the pitcher from the St. Joe's Cadets from the softball program in the circle, Lauren Wasikowski, who will be going to URI, along with Kylie Belinsky from Woodland. And I'm sure we'll kind of talk about that player later on, a former guest on the podcast. Lauren, great to be able to have you on.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Real quick, Lauren, because there's so much, and I want to be able to talk about St. Joe's as far as the program, the school, yourself. The game of softball, how did it find you?
I grew up going to Brakettes games, Stratford Brakettes, and I just loved it, honestly. I'd watch the pitchers, and I'd be so inspired and just so excited. And I loved how all the pitchers, just their presence on the mound, they're so confident, and I just wanted to be in that position. I wanted to have the ball every single pitch, and I wanted to be able to control the game. So I kind of just fell in love with softball watching them, and they've inspired me. They still inspire me. I still go to games, and I get to play for them next year. Or this summer actually. So I'm excited for that.
Now, if I recall, that's the field where they have the championship for softball, correct?
Yes.
So wouldn't it be, such a coincidence with you being a senior, because I forgot to mention that if you could have the opportunity, and I know, we'll get into that later as far as the bracket, and you could potentially see Massac in the quarterfinal, but wouldn't that be something where, coming full circle, you grew up going to Brakettes games at that field, and you could have an opportunity to finish your career on that field in that circle? That'd be cool.
That would be amazing. Pitching there last year in the state final was honestly so full circle for me. I was so excited, and I'm just excited to finish out my senior year, hopefully on that field again, and hopefully end with a different result and win one this year.
So the game of softball, as you said, you found it, Brakettes, and was the pitcher kind of that one position that really was like, I just love that. Like, not to say catcher and third base and shortstop is not cool. Every position's cool, regardless baseball or softball. But the pitching side seems like it attracted you a little bit more. Why is that?
Honestly, I just loved it, and I just was so inspired watching these girls pitch and just control the game that I just wanted to do something every single pitch. Give me the ball, I need to do something. I can't just sit still. So I knew that outfield probably wasn't going to be the best, and I'm also not the fastest runner. So I feel like being in the circle, it's kind of like my comfort circle. I got there and I just fell in love with the game, fell in love with pitching, and it's just where I'm most comfortable. It's where it's just what I love, honestly.
So as you were kind of going through what is the beginning stages of being a pitcher, talk to me about kind of just your experience, the practice, the games, if they start out early, because I'm sure there were some ups and downs early on.
Definitely. When I first started pitching, my dad challenged me to throw a set number of pitches in 1 year. And I was like, his number was crazy. It was 10,000. And I was like, wow, 10,000 pitches in 1 year. How am I going to do this? So that's also it got me into goal setting, because I ended up, me and my dad would go throw in the mornings before school in the school gym. So they gave us like a permanent visitor's pass, and we would just walk in and pitch before school. So I grew up doing that. That would be like third grade, fourth grade. And I reached that goal of 10,000 pitches, and I exceeded it, and I got 15,000. And that's actually, my dad's like, I'll get you a puppy if you throw 10,000 pitches in 1 year. So that's how I got my puppy. And then I was just kind of hooked on goal setting. So the next year I challenged myself to 15, and I got 25,000 in 1 year. Once again, pitching before school, and then pitching little league games, and just pitching whenever I could. I just loved it so much. I would be studying, spelling words, and I'd have my dad spell it out while I was pitching to like quiz me. So honestly, any time I could, I would have a ball in my hand and I'd be throwing some pitch. And then growing up, I used to play for Amity Little League, and before it was Bethwood, and then they combined towns because I live in Woodbridge, which is kind of a small town. So the regional, our high school for public school is Amity. So it's a regional school and it's 3 towns combined. So the Little League team combines too. So I grew up playing in the Little League championship games, and those were honestly hard. I never won one of the championships, but I always got to the final. And we'd play East Haven, it's so cool because now in high school I'm seeing the same girls and getting the opportunity to play against them, and seeing where they're going to college is even more inspiring because you're seeing all these girls that you look at them and you're like, oh, I see the 10-year-old version of you, and now you're going to play Division 1. It's actually insane to see the growth from so many of these players. And then getting to high school, it was just being on a different stage and realizing that now there's kind of pressure. There's challenging teams, challenging pitchers, and starting freshman year starting as a freshman at Laurelton, we had our whole infield besides first base and catcher were freshmen. So we were a young team, and it was a lot, honestly, starting in that spot. But I fell in love with the game even more and realized that the pressure is kind of my fuel. It's fun for me, and I thrive off of that pressure in the circle. So the challenging games are honestly the most fun for me. Pitching in the FCAC final last year was obviously, it didn't end with the result we would have wanted, but it was such a great experience. And to have that under my belt and like a pressure situation game that, yes, we didn't win, but I worked through it and I did the best I could in that on that given day. So it's always good to have a challenge, and I'm excited to be challenged at URI and be challenged for the rest of this high school season.
The aspect of you saying that you like a challenge, you like the pressure. I'm sure I'm sure that you're watching softball right now because of it being, I think, the Supers. The
Mhm.
World Series is not in the no, it's only a couple days away, I'm pretty sure. Um, and we know about Oklahoma. I think there's 6 straight college World Series for softball, which is, I mean, I don't know why that's not talked about more. It's amazing, but what do I know? When you're watching those games, because I can tell you as someone who is an old fart like me and doesn't play, baseball anymore, but when I'm watching games like the Yankees or, because the Yankees are my favorite team, but if I'm just watching any baseball game and I see a pitcher with the bases loaded, I don't know about you, but like I get like that, like the feeling of like, okay, like I like that moment because you want to
I
get
think
that
so.
big out and just let out a huge like scream or fist pump. I mean, do you feel that same way?
I love it. When the bases are loaded and it's a pressure situation, I want the ball. I feel like there's no other place I'd want to be. I wouldn't want to be sitting on the bench having somebody else get me out of the situation. I want to get myself out. I want to figure it out. And I absolutely love the pressure situation. It's
Now, I was talking with you before we started this, and you told me you never would have thought that you would be breaking the records as you have with St. Joe's. First off, I just want to say the amount of records you've broken, and you're pretty close to 600 strikeouts after 500 just a couple weeks ago. I think you said 23, correct?
23 away.
Which is you may get to 1,000 at this rate. But seriously, uh, first off, congratulations on breaking all these records. You are
Yeah.
permanently leaving your imprint with this program. And I think Coach Babb would say the same thing. And I hope he doesn't mind I call him Coach Babb. Don't kill me, Babb. Uh, but seriously though, if you could tell your younger self, so freshman year, senior, currently right now, senior talking to your freshman self, do you think your freshman self would be like, nah, no, I could never do that?
I think my freshman self would be excited, but also doubt herself and be like, "Oh, I don't know. That's a lot. Like, I don't know if I could handle that." But I feel like she'd be very proud of where I'm at and very excited to see what the rest of the future in my softball career holds and to see how I do at URI. But yeah, no, my freshman self definitely wouldn't expect 500 strikeouts in 3 years. So
In 3 years, and for people who may be living on a rock or maybe forgot under this beautiful day that we have today on a Sunday, is you lost the season because of COVID.
yeah,
Softball and baseball were both lost because of COVID in the 2020 season. The basketball season was cut short with states, and then the spring season was squashed. So for you to accomplish this in 3 years, it almost makes me wonder what you could be at 1,000 strikeouts right now for all we know. Like do you ever kind of sit back and say like, I know you don't say, coulda, shoulda, woulda, maybe, because you can't go back. But do
Mhm.
you ever think to yourself, if you're just, just sitting back, just kind of thinking about everything that you've done, like this could be an even bigger story?
Yeah, no, I always sit back and think of the what if I had my sophomore year at Laurelton, and we would have had a good team that year too, and we had a solid. She was a junior my freshman year, senior for my sophomore year, catcher behind the plate, Gianna, and we had really good chemistry. We worked really well together. So I feel like there would have been a lot of strikeouts that year, and I definitely would have been challenged. And anytime I face a team, they have such good hitters, especially in the FCAC, but getting that experience facing all these batters, it only makes you better. And honestly, I want to face the best hitters. I want to face a Ludlow. I want to face a Danbury. It's a challenge, and that's the most exciting thing, because if you can handle that challenge, or if you can't at that given day, you can later. You just got to work harder. So I feel like having that sophomore year would have been a great for me and would have really kind of changed who I am as a pitcher a little bit. It would have probably given me some more confidence at for the start of my junior year, because my confidence my junior year didn't really kick in until kind of little bit more than halfway through the season. And then I kind of just was like, this is my circle, this is my spot, like I love this. So honestly, I wish I had that sophomore year, especially one more year to play for Coach Amanda, who she's my travel coach, so that's really nice. But having her as my high school coach was also awesome. I love the way she coaches. I love the way Coach Babineau coaches. So having two different high school coaches, two different experiences has really kind of transformed me into the player that I am today. So I would have loved that sophomore year.
I don't know about you, but I'm just thinking about, because talking about the competitiveness and you basically saying this is my circle. This was years ago, and I don't know if you're a baseball fan. I don't know if you've watched a lot of baseball, but the Yankees used to have a pitcher named Mike Mussina, pitched for the O's and the Yankees. Joe Torre, who was a former Yankee manager, I think he was at Fenway. I could be wrong. Was about to take out Mussina, and Mussina pointed at him and said, basically, go back to the dugout. You're not taking me out. Sit your hiney on the bench or sit on the dugout. I don't know why, but just hearing you say it's my circle, it's me, like not saying it's me, but like you want to be there. You want to get yourself out of a jam. I feel like, not to say you do the same thing, because that's a little different, but I feel like you have that same competitive fire. Am I wrong there?
I love it. I have that competitive fire. It's kind of being 5'4" and a pitcher. It's kind of my advantage, the heart in the fight that I have. So I really pride myself on that. But this year, me and Brooke Buzzio have kind of shared the circle this year, which has been nice because going into playoffs, my arm is not as worn out, not sore. I'm feeling great, and so is she. So I'm excited to see where the me and her kind of combo goes, because I've pitched, I think, less games this year, but also I've pitched better than last season. I think my stats are better too. So I'm definitely the I want the ball, but I understand the you need to relax, you need to rest, and kind of working together, because the pitching staff at URI is pretty solid. There's a lot of pitchers on it, so it's going to be kind of share the circle, get used to it. But like if I have an opportunity, I want the ball, I want to put my best effort, I want to show you what I have. And if I'm in the circle, you're gonna get the best that I have on that given day. So I love the this is my circle comfort zone kind of spot.
And before we go to URI, and we're just about out of time, and I really do appreciate you coming on. We do have the playoffs as far as for softball and baseball. They start on Tuesday, if I remember right. You play Pomperog in the first round. I know projecting ahead, so I don't want to look too ahead, because obviously you have to beat Pomperog, and it's going to be tough games from here on out. I don't care about seeding. Everybody's tough once you get to the playoffs. Potentially, you could see Masick. I know that's something that would be a heck of a game, an SWC versus FCIAC powerhouse teams colliding there in the quarterfinal. This being the final run for you and the rest of the seniors, I'm sure it's going to be a whole it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, we're all excited, especially Kira McCarthy. She didn't play her junior year or our junior year, so she's returned for her senior year. So having her back at second base has been amazing this year. She actually made second team all FCAC, so great for her. She's honestly amazing to have, just such a talented infielder and also hitter. And then Brooke and I are both really excited to just give it all we got. I mean, you only have one shot or you're done. So our team's kind of on the mentality that we're going to work together, we're going to play for each other and just put our best effort forward and just leave it all out on the field.
Lauren, I really do appreciate you coming on the podcast. I wish you nothing but the best of luck the rest of this playoff when it begins on Tuesday, as well as at you or I as well. Both you and Kylie will be battery mates, and I have another reason now to watch A10. Right, you or I's A10.
A10.
Okay, so I'll definitely have to try to watch some A10 softball to see Kylie hopefully catching or playing somewhere in the field, and then also you in the circle as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks again for being able to come on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. That wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm our journey. Find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well. And have a safe and happy Memorial Day.